So apparently every rocket that has ever launched doesn't actually go to space. They say it's because of the firmament. They say space is fake. But is it? All right, so let's check the math. Here we have Corporate Tarzan. Yeah, that's his profile name on Facebook. And no, I don't know why he doesn't have a shirt on. I would take my shirt off.
Ew, gross.
But my wife is the only person that would probably be happy about that. And that's even doubtful. And I'm pretty sure I would lose subs.
I'm too sexy for my shirt.
But before we watch this video, if you enjoy this type of content and want to learn more about this type of thing, and aren't too offended by the shirtless man on the screen, please subscribe, like the video, and leave me a comment on what you may want to see in the future. So let's go ahead and start the video and see what he's got to say.
Do you remember that video that China released of the Tinfoil 9 scraping upon the firmament?
I
Funny
remember
thing,
the video, yeah.
Tinfoil is roughly translated to heavenly vessel.
Cool.
And another thing, have you noticed how every single rocket shoots up and then starts curving, following an arched trajectory?
Stay tuned, because in today's Did You Know segment, we're going to talk about exactly that and why it goes into a arch, as he says, even though it's not.
Almost like it's avoiding something above. My theory is that it's avoiding the firmament.
So yeah, let's talk about what it's avoiding. It's avoiding gravity. If a ship goes straight up, you know what's going to happen? It's going to come straight back down. It has to go in an arc, as he says, even though it's not, because it's not actually coming back down, because it has to get up to a velocity that will basically cause it to go fast enough so that it'll fall towards Earth, but it'll constantly miss because it's falling around the Earth. That's what an orbit is.
Because we cannot leave the closed system that we are in.
It's not closed.
So they are basically mocking us by loading some hollow phallic with a bunch of helium, shooting it up into the air.
It's not loaded with helium. It has helium and it's used for cooling. And it's not the other thing he said either.
Making it either hit the firmament and blow up or scrape the firmament, or it just avoids it completely and then falls down into the ocean.
The only ones that fall down into the oceans are the ones that are having issues. Unfortunately, a lot of the SpaceX Starship launches do fall into the ocean, but that's planned. Well, few of them were unplanned disassemblies, as Elon likes to say. But for the ones that are actual missions and not test missions, they're not falling into the ocean. The boosters may be, but the payload itself is going into orbit.
That's the thing. I lived in Florida. Yes, they actually launch rockets.
I think the lack of a shirt kind of tells you that he lived in Florida.
But they are not going to outer space. And have you noticed how every single time a rocket reaches outer space, it's suddenly CGI? Just like the rocket launch that we just had on April Fool's.
Artemis
Guess
2.
what? Now that they're in space, oh, it's computer-generated images.
Yeah, and it also says on the screen, visualization. So let's talk about that for a second. How else are they going to get images of a spaceship in space? There's two ways. One is somebody on Earth is videoing or taking photos of the spaceship. Well, I hate to tell you this, but they can't zoom that far. The other option is launch a second spaceship that is going to fly side by side with the first one so that it can take video of the first one. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. So what happens is NASA or whichever space agency is doing the launch wants to give the viewers a visualization of what's actually happening. And that's why it's computer generated. And every time I can think of that I've seen, especially on the Artemis 2 mission that you referred to, it says on the screen, visualization. And yet I'm seeing post after post of moon landing deniers showing these videos, talking about how fake it is.
I wonder why. Probably because
told you.
the entire concept of outer space is completely false.
It's not.
Google rockets in space. Every single image is a computer-generated image.
Yeah, I just told you why.
Why is that?
I just
Do you
told you.
remember?
So, yeah, all of his points are completely off base. He has absolutely no proof that there is no space, while we have endless amounts of proof that there is space. We've been there. And we've been there before CGI was a thing. And there's reels and reels of video. There are countless images that were created way before CGI. So if you made it this far into the video, which I'm very happy you did, and thank you very much, I like to do a Did You Know segment at the end of each video. I try to keep it related to the subject matter of the video, and in this case, we'll talk about what it takes to achieve orbit around the Earth. We have launched countless, well, I guess they can be counted, let's say thousands of payloads into orbit. There's a lot of things that go into launching anything into orbit, so we'll talk about just a few of them here.
Launch Control, this is Houston. We are go for launch.
First, you may have noticed if you watched any launches that they almost always immediately turn to the east. There's a good reason for that. The Earth is rotating towards the east. At the equator, everything is already moving at about 1,000 miles per hour relative to space. A rocket attempting to reach LEO, or low Earth orbit, needs to reach around 7.9 kilometers per second, or 17,500 miles per hour, to maintain that orbit. Launching towards the east gives them about 1,000 mile per hour head start. That way they require less fuel. And fuel is the majority of the payload mass that has to be lifted into space. Just a little side note, to leave Earth's orbit, such as missions to the moon, they will need to reach at least 11 kilometers per second, or 25,000 miles per hour, to escape Earth's gravity. So once the rocket reaches altitude and the goal speed, all rockets are shut down and the spaceship actually begins falling back to Earth. However, because of its speed, it is constantly missing the ground. That's what an orbit actually is. This also means that while many people think that gravity doesn't exist in space, that's actually not true. For example, on the International Space Station, which is about 245 miles up, they are actually experiencing about 90% of the gravity that we are down here. But since they are constantly falling, they are seemingly weightless. So thanks for watching. If you have any comments, please leave them below. If you have any suggestions for future videos, I'm all ears, and we'll tackle anything you can give us. If you disagree with anything I've said, comment below and we'll talk about it. So please check out this video. It's another good one for checking the math. And as always, thank you very much.